a former senior executive in the financial services sector who reinvented his life's purpose to document cultural memory and forgotten legacies. Today, Amardeep is globally known as visual ethnographer, author, filmmaker, leading transformational work on Sikh heritage across geographies. So today we will explore with him how he cultivated an explorer's mindset, his journey from corporate leader to a seeker of history, and behind the scene experiences from his 15-month expedition across 9 countries, and what it truly means to follow a calling with courage, curiosity, and conviction. So over to you, Amardeep. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Varundeep, for giving this opportunity. So I am in Singapore. It's late here, about 10 p.m. in the night, but that's not a problem. So this is probably the first time I'm speaking to CIOs across multiple companies, right, in India. Um, for me, it's now been, we are sitting in 2026, right? 2025, getting in 2026. I left the corporate world in 2014. So I'm 12 years away from the corporate world, but there has never been a dull day. Life continues to steam forward, but in a different direction, uncharted. You don't know, what's next in store, but that's the beauty of it. But the whole idea is to continue to give the structure of what the corporate mind has taught us, right? So that's the whole idea out here. In terms of even creative pursuits, so and I'm going to take this opportunity to share the presentation that I put together. It's a very visual presentation, so I'll appreciate if at any point of time, maybe towards the end, we can have question answers, and then I can actually open up more. But here's how I intend going through. Um, for one to understand what what it takes to actually become an explorer after a structured corporate environment, one needs to then understand a little bit as to what have I delivered, right? So we'll start with what have I delivered over the last 12 years. And thereafter, I'll get into, rather than speaking myself out more in detail, I will show a recently released film, which has been filmed by this Boho Foundation in USA. And that film was just released about 15 days back. So I thought it kind of encapsulates what I would have spoken myself, but because it's going to actually catch your attention much deeper, I'll play that film, right? And thereafter, I'll move into the third part of the presentation, really just giving the model of what you could take away as to my life's model. And I don't guarantee that for you, but it's just my life's model, right? So it worked for me, but there is a structure in that, right? And there is merit in that model. So you could take some insights from it, and then we will go into the last section of any question answers. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I'm gonna start by sharing the screen first.
Yeah. And if to the audience, if there are any questions or any inputs, please keep putting it in the chat. And probably after this slide section is over, we can go take a look at it and then move to the video section.
So are you able to see the slide and explorers
Yes,
mind?
yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
great.
yes. Yeah.
Just give me 1 second, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so starting with a slide, an explorer's mindset. So look, I mean, in life, everyone is an explorer, right? It's nothing that one has to be an explorer in terms of going into the wilderness or going out of uh, your comfort zone. That's not really what I define as an explorer, because in the day-to-day life also we are all explorers, right? Anytime when we go out of our structured environment, you are always exploring something, be it you are in your CIO environment, be it in any other place, even at home, we all do become explorers at times, right? When we go out of our comfort zones. But in my life, there has been something very dramatic that happened. So, what are the three or four bodies of work that I've done in the last 12 to 13 years? Let me start with that. So, I was I got my people started knowing me when I did this body of work, which is on the left-hand side, the two books called Lost Heritage, The Sikh Legacy in Pakistan. Now, this work started in 2014. I left the corporate career in 2013 with American Express, having worked across India, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Uh, I left India in 1999. I started my career in 1990, so 9 years in India, about 8 years in India, and then I worked in Hong Kong for 2 years, came to Singapore, and I've been in Singapore since then. But when I left in 2013, what unconsciously happened is that this body of work got created, and these are two books, large publications, about 3 kgs each. And in between these two books, I've mapped the legacy remnants across the Indus belt. So when I say the Indus belt, it means Indus and its tributaries. Normally, people tend to, in the current context, think that when you say the word Sikh, it means Punjab. No, this this whole definition that we have inherited today, it's post-partition what has got inherited in India, which is just the tail of a larger Indus basin, which was from Kashmir up till Afghanistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan, Kashmir, which is on the Pakistan side, West Punjab, Sindh, and Balochistan. Now, most of the people belonging to the Hindu and Sikh communities belonging to this region, right from Kashmir down till Sindh and Balochistan, Nanak was always intertwined into the belief system. Now, deep inside Balochistan, you still have, in fact, these books have actually unsurfaced all those aspects from an intangible legacy perspective. You still have a lot of so-called, I mean, today we use Hindu as a religion, but Hindu actually means a culture of people staying on the east of the Indus River, right? So, people staying in that region, there's still people out there where Nanak is pretty much intertwined in the faith system. So when I'm using the word Sikh, my definition is much larger in terms of really understanding a culture that one fine day in 1947 was totally abandoned, right? And has transformed into what we have inherited in East Punjab as a boxed kind of a faith and religion, what we call today as the Sikh aspect. So I'm trying to understand what our forefathers' mindset was through the ruins, remnants, art, architecture, forts of that era, and also the intangibles of the society that's living in remote areas across all these states. So I have personally visited 126 cities and villages in this pursuit between 2014 and then in 2016 thereafter. And these two books were done, right? Thereafter, the Punjabi version on the right-hand side has been recently released. Both the volumes have been combined into one. And in the Pakistan, we have also released the Urdu version of it because I firmly believe that when the communities leave, the new population dynamics that inherits the actually heritage, of course, there's a lot of reconditioning that happens, narratives get rewritten. But unless we own the responsibility of writing it and leaving it and making them aware, the newer generations, then only then can we have hope that some revival will happen. So that was the whole pursuit. It unconsciously unfolded, and that's the piece I'm going to talk about later on. But this is the first body of work I did. Somehow, I got accepted by the broader society because of this work because uh, my mindset was saying that legacy is not religion. Now, why I'm saying this is that a lot of people today who go to Pakistan, be it the Hindu Jathas or the Sikh Jathas, they will go from the perspective of going to the Gurdwaras or to Katas Raj temple or somewhere here and there, but it's confined into the religious domain. And when communities are living in a region, uh, they are not living and breathing religion alone, right? You have so many other facets. You have art, architecture, interfaith aspects, so many, you have cuisines, you have cultures. And because people have left from that land of five rivers and the Indus River, we have inherited a culture whereby the geopolitical situation also, not the culture, but the geopolitical situation is in such a way that when you get a visa from India, you, of course, can't be blamed for this because you will get a religious restricted visa, which will only allow you to go to a few gurdwaras or a temple or so, and that's what you will do, right? But so, and you keep doing that for good 70, 80 years. I mean, 1947 partition happened, we are close to 80 years now, right? And you keep allowing people only to come to those places, what will happen? The next generation's memory goes away. Ruins that are lying there, the art cannot be understood inside it. And the art that you have inherited, or the architecture that you have created on this side of Punjab is very different to what our forefathers have left and come back. So, in essence, what I'm trying to say is that uh, legacy is not religion, right? Religion is a subset of legacy. So all the books prior to these bodies of work that were done, I'm not saying that I was the first one to do these books. I mean, any book on this subject, but yes, my work was a bit different in 2014 because this was trying to look at it from the lens of legacy and heritage, which is not restricted to religion, which means it's not just the Gurdwara monuments. In fact, till date, I get a bit irked when people introduce me as saying, "Hey, Amardeep, he has done these two great books, and they are about Gurdwaras in Pakistan." And I just say, you just reduce the entire meaning and the expanse of the work because this work is about much more than just religion, right? Or religious sites. So that's the only piece I wanted to put forward out here, right? Um, then what happened is in 2019, and I'll show this 2-minute trailer before we move on, is really the work which I think I can now, in the hindsight, look back and say that probably why me and my wife took birth in this world, right? Because some things just evolve, right? And this docu-series was unconsciously were led into it, like I was led into the documentation of the two books, and we'll talk about that later on. But unconsciously, I was led into then making this docu-series, which is a 24 episode documentary series. And if you look at the website name which is given there, I'll request people to note it down. It's very simple. Just you have to add the word the before Guru Nanak, thegurunanak.com. And if you go on to this, you can see it in 5 languages. There are 24 videos inside this. But this work started in January 2019. And the basis of this work was that Nanak was the only person in those 550 years back in the subcontinent who traveled very extensively within the Indian subcontinent and outside of the Indian subcontinent. Today, unfortunately, he is boxed into a religion. He's been claimed by a certain group of people, and he's been kind of constricted inside that. But he was a free man in quest of something, right? And quest of wisdom, basically. And his entire life is a beautiful life, a beautiful narrative of going across multiple sites across Asia, having spiritual dialogues with people of diverse philosophical traditions, right? And that is the need of the hour today, to understand each other. And through Nanak's footsteps, you can actually unbox and try and understand what was he trying to do 550 years back. Now, the problem in doing this work today, and this is not created in the studios, this is not enacted, it's not a docudrama, it is a documentary series whereby you've taken an effort to take the oldest texts in which his narrative. Look, first and foremost, Nanak has written nothing about his life. Neither the companion who traveled with him has written anything about his life. That is Bhai Mardana, who's playing the Rabab. So there are no biographies, there are no autobiographies. There are only what you call as hagiographies. And hagiographies are basically literature that's written by people of faith who write about the revered being. Now, about 70 years after his life, and the Sikh gurus, the 10 gurus lineage is still there, but people start writing about Guru Nanak and his life. And that body of work, up till 150 years after his body form, is what we call as the Janam Sakhi literature. In English, you'll not call it as a biography, autobiography. It's called known as hagiographies, when people of faith are writing them, right? Now, people of faith will always be biased. So therefore, when you look at, the Christian chronicles that have been written about Christ many decades after him, centuries in fact, or someone writes about Buddha or anyone, they will have bias. But the good thing about Guru Nanak is that he's given you close to 928 verses which he has written. And he's integrated 15 Indic saints from across the Indian subcontinent by bringing in the writings in those days when things never used to be written down. It was only by oral tradition that used to be passed on. But he traveled to Baba Farid's place in Pakpatan, which is now in Pakistan, and he started documenting his verses. And Sheikh Farid was 250 years before him. But that sowed the seed that by the time of the fifth Sikh Guru, writings of diverse Bhakti saints from across India, from Bengal to UP, Joydev, Kabir, Ramanand, Namdev from Maharashtra, were given space in the Granth Sahib, which was written in the land of five rivers. Now, this was a very visionary man who was trying to bring about the integration of the subcontinent through the spiritual traditions 550 years back. There's no one else who's done that, right? And yet, today, when you look at him, he's boxed into religion, he's boxed into myths, he's boxed into mythologies. He would be disappointed if he comes back, right? So we kind of started this docu series by saying that we want to go to each of those sites, and the biggest problem was and to recreate his narrative through those earliest texts, because after 150 years after his life, the hagiographies that have been written after that, and today also there are hagiographies being written in the WhatsApp University and in the Facebook University. But today it's like one-upmanship. Everyone wants to send him further and further and further and further. His travels have not stopped. He's been continuing to be sent further and further. Anyone who travels anywhere and say, "Oh, Guru Nanak came here," but that's not how you create narrative, right? Reality is we don't know where he traveled. And I will upfront say we have no idea, but we have a methodology. There's a method in the madness. You have 928 verses of his, and you have the earliest text, and taking the amalgamation of that, what we said is we're going to try and understand the personality of Guru Nanak, and by going to each of these places, taking his verses through those narratives, try and understand through the verses what did he stand for, what was he trying to achieve, what was he trying to communicate, what was the dialogue that he is having, right? And that's the intent out here. So if the texts that have been written between 70 years to 150 years have got some errors, well, there is no one in this world who can actually validate, correct, or negate it, right? It is what it is, and we've just taken that as a methodology. But the idea is to understand him through his 928 verses. The biggest challenge in creating this narrative, why the explorer's mindset comes in, is the only takeaway that I will say is, like in the work on the two legacy books that we did in Pakistan, uh, in this work the challenges become multi-dimensional, right? Because 70% of the land mass where he traveled today is in a geopolitically very sensitive situation where you can't travel with cameras. You try and apply visas, and these are primarily nine countries. I mean, narrative today continues to expand, but the oldest texts have his travels limited to the following countries: Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Tibet, not the whole of China, just Tibet, India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. Now, 70% of this land mass, we take India outside of it, is today drones inside there. You cannot get inside the sites very easily, and there's a life risk out here. Yeah. So, how do you do it? And that's the piece where the explorer's mindset starts coming in. Something has to give you as a blessing, right? So we kind of then tried this narrative, and 2019 Jan we started filming. Just interestingly, 3 days before the COVID actually shut down the world, me and my wife, along with the team, had completed the 100% of the narrative as per the oldest text across 9 nations, and we came back with something like 75 terabytes of data, and we came into Singapore. And the beauty is that at a time when the world had shut down, our creative juices were at the highest in terms of the output, because nothing was disturbing us. In fact, we did a 18 to 19-month journey in that pre-COVID phase. And what you filmed right in the beginning, you had kind of forgotten with in so much of data, where is it embedded? And it was a mammoth task to to take out the data, start the editing process. There were about 270 verses in this entire series that were recorded remotely with artists in Pakistan, Salima Khwaja, who learned from the descendants of Bhai Mardana, who was Guru Nanak's companion. And then there was Satyinder Bodal in India. So all that body of work, and then we amalgamated and made this series in 5 languages. So COVID worked in our favor, right? Something has been working in our favor, and that's what the explorer's mindset is going to come down to after we show the screening of the picture. Now I want to actually just show this 2-minute trailer, and then one or two more slides, and then we'll come to the screening of the video. I'll just put this on 2-minute one. What this documentary series is about. Guru Nanak, the 15th century spiritual leader, is a guiding force for many. He spent over 2 decades traveling to distant lands to engage in philosophical and social dialogues with people of diverse cultures and belief systems. Through the medium of words and music, he gracefully imparted experiential insights, fearlessly challenged the binary constructs of society, and relentlessly opposed gender, religious, racial, and class inequalities. My name is Amardeep Singh. I retrace the life events of Guru Nanak as narrated in the earliest historical texts. नानक देव जी ने हमको परम पिता परमात्मा का नाम बताया. He had his own message of oneness of humanity, and that cut across all religions. 530 years ago, coming, on uncharted lands, but was still making such a big impact, an impact which not only had permanence, which was carried on. So the reason of showing this 2-minute trailer out here is to just motivate you all to actually see it at your end. Go into this website, thegurunanak.com. If you're going to see it, see one episode every few days. It's a long narrative, 24 episodes. But I can tell you, you'll be able to understand the Indic traditions and across different subcontinents, various philosophical traditions through the footsteps of Nanak. And this series was given the 2022 Interfaith Award, which was given to the Dalai Lama by the Hofstra University in New York. It's a bit unfortunate that sometimes I say that you give things free of charge, the value reduces to zero because unfortunately the adherents of Nanak are not really seeing it, right? It's the more non adherents of Nanak are spending more time and finding it much more appealing, in fact, right? So, but we've done our part, we've moved on, right? So we are not stuck to it. We don't have any commercial aspect to it. We created it. Some energies came together, money came in. We went inside these territories. We were able to film it. We've done our part, and that's why I started by saying I feel this was the reason probably we came into this world, right? So it's 5 years gone, and so 5 years for lost heritage, 5 years for this. Now, what we are working on for the last about 2+ years is this project called Oneness in Diversity, wherein, as I said earlier, when Guru Nanak traveled across the subcontinent in his journeys, when he went to Baba Fari's place, he started collating an oral tradition and documenting them down. Over 240 odd verses of Baba Fari that there in the Granth Sahib. But along with that, there are writings. In fact, very few people know, but the first place where Kabir Sahib's actually writings were enshrined is in Guru Granth Sahib. Anyone in UP and Bihar in the past, about 30 to 40 years back, was if had to study Kabir, they would go to this repository of Granth Sahib, Guru Granth Sahib, and that somehow in Punjab, they've not done the justification of telling the world that what an amalgamation of 15 Indic saints that was happening uh, in this initiative of Guru Nanak, that in the latter Sikh gurus did this. So we need to bring in the Bhakti period. So what we are finding is that in this project is that as we were doing Guru Nanak docu-series, we found out that a lot of translations that are there are there's time to revisit them because these translations are gender biased. they are monotheistic concept. They are not suiting the contemporary times. I mean, it's not really about contemporary. They're not suiting as knowledge and wisdom evolves. You start seeing things from a different lens. They're not suiting the Indic tradition lens, right? So we are reattempting the translations, but doing it in an audio-visual format. So this website has become active about in June of this year. It became active. Onenessindiversity.com, but it's got a huge body of content. 1653 verses of Guru Nanak and all the Bhakti period saints is being recorded in the prescribed musicology and reattempted in terms of the metaphoric translation. Metaphoric translation is the key out here, because right now what we have, majority of it is all literal translations, and you can't actually interpret verses of these saints through a literal way, because it just warps the entire messaging. And then you create this gender inside it, and energy does not have a gender, especially the creative energy, which is basically the creation is the creator. Kabir Sahib says, "Khalak, khalak, khalak mein khalik." Creator is the creation is the creator, create and creator is the creation. It's an evolving system. It's an ecosystem. It cannot have a gender biasness inside it, and so on and so forth. So there are many things to fix right now, and we've just taken this on as our next project, and we've been on it for last 2.5 years. These things take a lot of resources, right? Somehow by now we have enough credit worthiness, I mean, out here, credibility out here, that few people, not many, few people understand the long term generational impact of what we do. And we always work on parachute models. We've never had surplus of funds, but we're not doing this in terms of commercial aspects. We are always working on just in time mechanism, whereby the project is drying up in terms of its resources, but we have enough faith to understand by now that a parachute will open and it never fails us, right? But we are continuing to process like this. So this is the next project that we are working on. I'll not talk much about it, because if you go to onenessindiversity.com, just see it for yourself. It'll explain everything. Again, it's something about the the way I would define the last 10 years of work was essentially, when I was in American Express, they would always say you should have an elevator pitch of what do you do. And my elevator pitch in the post corporate world is simply, we do things in regions where others choose not to go or are not able to go. So what it basically means is our first two bodies of work were in geographic expanse where people were choosing not to go or were not able to go because of geopolitical situations. But there's a huge amount of internal aspect inside this. And now what this Oneness Industry project is, it's all about internal now, because majority of us choose not to go internal or don't know how to go internal. So it's not just a geographical space, it's also internal. Many people choose not to go or don't know how to go. And that's what we are now actually venturing into in this project. Having said that, this is the various websites: thegurunanak.com, onenessindiversity.com, lostheritagebook.com. If you want to click a picture of this on your mobile phones, you can click it. What we are coming up soon with is this new website called learnwithnanak.com. Learn, although it's Nanak, but it's not about Guru Nanak itself. It's Nanak's vision of oneness. It's going to have the Indic saints, and we're going to come up with courses every 6 months. Something new will be coming up. We're going to be launching this in Jan. So that's our next body of work that we're doing. So in this, I'm going to start the 30-minute uh, video now after this, and then we'll take the model and we'll bring this to an end, right? So probably another 45 minutes I'm going to take this to bring it to an end. But I want to start by saying that this is the mist of life that I've always felt in my corporate world, or even prior to that, when I was doing my engineering or I did an MBA, it just felt that something was always in a mist around me. And this is a picture I clicked in Burma uh, very early in the morning. I've clicked this myself, but it depicts what I've always felt as the mist around my life, right? And I think I've been fortunate enough that I've been given opportunities to try and navigate through this mist. And every one of us is in a mist. It's not just about me. Every one of us is in the mist, right? Somehow my life has gone to a direction where I feel blessed that we've been able to navigate a bit through the mist, right? So that's why I wanted to actually show this. Uh, the most of my works, as I said, it started from this uprooting of the entire civilization from the Indus region in the 1947 partition, and it has been thrown from the Indus. See, civilizations thrive along riverbeds, right? Historically. And this Indus civilization, the five rivers of Punjab and the Indus River, uh, people got uprooted and they've fallen all over. In fact, as they came into Gangetic Belt, from there went into South India, they went abroad and here and there. It's got dispersed all across the world. What has happened in the long run is philosophy, culture, language, and heritage has got impacted for this group of the people of the Indus, right? The next generation is growing up devoid of a deeper understanding of what their forefathers had created as a glorious chapter of the histories, right? Which is not taught either in Pakistan and neither in India. Because in India, when I was studying, I mean, you have a passing mention, but it's never taught in depth, right? Why? I don't know, but probably because it's a history that churned in the lands that's no more a part of India. It's a part of Pakistan. In Pakistan, well, it's the Islamic period, non-Islamic period of the history. So therefore, it doesn't find a place there, and neither does it find a place here. But on the left-hand side, if you look at it, there's a mighty empire that got created after 800 to 900 years of invasions through Khyber Pass of the Central Asians, the Turks who were coming inside. And after 800 years of invasions, uh, I mean, the 12 Sikh missiles, as Ranjit Singh's time, they created a mighty empire, which was the last empire that British took over. And after two wars with Punjab, right, and that's how they entered, right. But it was they had taken over the whole of India, and this was the last one that they got into in 1849. They ruled the least, or any state that was ruled the least by the British was this region of Indus. So it extended right up till Afghanistan, up till Khyber Pass, and I've had an opportunity to travel up till there. So the question is, what a glorious chapter, and it's been totally destroyed. So who is going to own it? Who is going to own it? I mean, if I have been given the opportunity to start documenting, I take it as a personal responsibility that we have to do this for the next generation, because not just on the history front, philosophically, culturally, it has all been fragmented. So that's where this whole thing started off. Now, this is the last slide before we start the video. The question that I will pose, and then I will pose this again after the video. The question is, why should that energy choose you, that you should do this job? वो हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, आप कौन सी खेत की मूली हो कि आपको चुना जाए? What have you done? Because this is a divine ordained choice that some energy makes to pick you up from nowhere and literally bestows the bounties in front of you by taking you into an uncharted path. And life has got so much of meaning out of that, that I'm now 59, and 12 to 13 years that I've been on this path, I say this is the most fruitful part of my life. But the question is, why should that energy choose you? With that question, I will start the video. Let's see this for 30 minutes. I will raise this question again in the video, and I think you will find the answer in that. But I will raise it again after the video, and then I'll give you the model. Right? Is that fair, Varun?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in you want to take some questions inputs here, or you just want to play the video and
I
then
think I think let's start the
sure.
video and we'll take it afterwards.
Okay, right. Sure.
Right? So I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to get कि आपको energy choose करेगी. What have you done? It's a fundamental question. Life is not, I mean, there's a lot of chance element which is there in life, but the model is predictable, right? Unconsciously, when you're doing something for many years and when you're prepared and you're ready, then the energy chooses you. That's what I've taken away. What I've not told you is from the year of 17 years of age, I was delving into many, many aspects, musicology, be it history, be it philosophies, many multiple things as were briefly touched in the video. But there's a corporate life that was going on, right? And you excelled in your corporate life, but you did not give up what you were pursuing, which was close to your heart. And those energies kept evolving every now and then, and you just kept layering them. I was not an expert in all of them. The fact is, in 2014, when my corporate door shut down, it was disorienting, and it's fine to be disorienting. But reinvention, change is always very tough. Change is tough for everyone, right? But you were ready. And thereafter, it's been just a divine blessing with everything that's been happening. And I can tell you, I have put zero money inside any of these projects. By the way, the documentary series that you're going to see, if you choose to see on the Guru Nanak 24 episode, it's a 3 million US dollar project. Not a single dollar I've put in. It's been given free of charge. It's a different thing that people, the adherents of Nanak, don't find value in it because there are better and shallow narratives and myths and mythologies that they prefer to see. But that's fine. We've done our part. But where did the parachutes open from, right? It's a blessing. When you just went in with a thought, I want to do this, and what led to the creation of the Lost Heritage books, you had created your brand name. And when you wanted to do something, again, something which was going to be out of the box, a few people came forward. We never had an abundance of money. Today, when you want to do a film, you go to a bank and raise the entire money. We just walked with $20,000 in our pocket. We just took a step. When you take a step, then the energy pulls you in and the energy comes closer to you. 10 steps, right? And that's exactly what has happened. We never had surplus, but in the 5 years, we have been able to deliver five languages and we moved on to the next projects, right? We continue to struggle still because it is not a commercial project that we do for the last 13 years, 12 years. We've not been doing anything commercial. But it is going to have its own challenges. The question is, why should the energy choose you? What have you done? So, my only humble request to you all in the corporate world is do not lose the focus on developing yourself beyond that 9 to 5 job. Have something other than that. Whatever you like. My path was many other things that I told you musicology, philosophy, history, blah, 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 blah. Yours might be gardening, yours might be cooking, yours might be flowering, yours might be something else. Whatever you like, do it to the best of your ability, because my path is not everyone's path and your path is not going to be my path. But if you've done that other thing beyond the corporate 9 to 5 to the best of your ability, there's no timeline inside this. At some point when you're ready, the energy will choose you to take you to the next level, but you have to make that effort. If you not make that effort, don't expect that something is going to come and choose you. And when that's going to happen, in my case, I mean, I started at 17 years. By the time I was 48 years, it shut the door on the corporate side. I can look back now and say, there's a storyline inside this. But in the moment, there was no story. All that I was doing was from 17 to 48, while my corporate career was going on, I was doing something that was building me unconsciously, right? So, as you look at this thing, corporate is a very structured kind of a cube. It's got a structure inside it, right? When you go into the creative space, you break the structure, you break the boundaries, you break the narratives, you start doing something out of the box. The others think you're crazy, man, to do this, but you're breaking it. But after doing that in every body of work, whether it be my mapping of the legacy remnants in Pakistan or whether it be going across these 9 countries, by breaking the boundaries, we never knew that this film series could be completed. And as we went inside and we started getting the data, we had to give it a structure. You see, if I wouldn't have given it a structure, the reason is even in the creative space, it's important to give a structure. You have to come back to the corporate side of giving it a structure. There's no escape route. But just to do something out of the box, you'll have to break the structure, go out and do that. And for that, you have to be prepared that the energy will choose you to break the structure. But if you break the structure and you say, I relished it, I enjoyed it, right? All right, you enjoyed it, but your narrative will not run beyond you. What is it that you're going to leave for the next generation? For that, you have to again build the structure back. There are many people who will just enjoy their life. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that someone else's model is right or wrong and mine is perfect model. But it's just in my life, I figured out every time you go out and you go in the creative space and you break the structure, you struggle through the whole thing, you come back and you have to create it because your responsibility is towards the society, towards the next generation. That's what creates the cyclic effect of allowing you to break and come back every time. That's where the brand gets built in. So here's the simple thing, and the last slide after this, and I will bring it to an end. Every time this sine curve will take you in your life, the lowest moments is where you will, when you're on the high of the up on the sine curve, right? Many a times the high will not allow you to think beyond. You'll just the world today is very materialistic. You'll not feel the need to do something more than just that high of a corporate job or whatever it is. But ensure that you keep doing that. And when you're in the creative space, when you've had your high, after every product that we've done, there's a huge high that comes into the right product, but it dies thereafter. It dies. You will have a book that world will move you around. I've given close to 120, 130 seminars after every book that I did. It takes you around. But then what happens, the slide down happens, and you'll get into a blockage phase in the creative space, and in that creative blockage space is a waiting period, and there's a eureka moment comes in because you're ready. You have to do something next. You've prepared yourself for so many years. Eureka moments come in, and they come in from nowhere. It's like Nanak says, hum adami ha ekdami. I exist because I took my last breath. We don't even own our breath. We don't even own our thoughts. Our Western corporate structure will tell you got to do everything. The fact is, you don't even own your breath. You don't even own your thought. Where that thought comes from, you can say, I've done it. I've figured it out. You have to be humble. Even the thoughts don't come because you have asked the thought to come. You have prepared yourself, and the thought will emerge by itself because you're already prepared. And then you start your journey on the sine curve up there. So the last slide is the most important thing I'll lead you from here is if you look at the blue arrow, while I was doing my bread and butter in education, I was creating passions through and through. I'm using the word creating passions, not following passions. There's a huge difference between following passion and I said never follow a passion, always create it. Following passion is अंधे की तरह चले जा रहे हो. I like photography, खींचे जाओ, but you've not created it. When a passion gets created, if you are a gardener, create the garden, become the garden. If you're a cook, be the dish itself. It's a different mindset. If you're a photographer, be the photograph itself. That's creating it. You get into the next level. And when that next level comes in, before that, you have to take baby steps, one step at a time, slowly, you move towards it. Try many things in life because life is long, but at the same time, it's short. It'll pass away very fast. But it's long enough that you have to try everything to figure out what's your sweet spot and look for acceptability signals. When you actually create your passions, someone say, oh wow, your dishes are so great. Oh wow, your photographs are great. Wow, this is great. Those are the acceptability signals. Be consistent in what you do. It doesn't matter you have to do one thing for the rest of your life. If you find that you have kind of grown and your challenges have stopped in that particular pursuit, you know what, I can guarantee if you've done it to your best ability, I found in my life the next purpose will emerge right behind you. You'll not realize it'll be right behind you when this that oomph goes away from that pursuit. uh, you will feel the lack of enthusiasm. It's a point that the next purpose is, if you've done it best to your ability, right? You'll find the next purpose will be right behind you, and you just logically just move to that and just pick it up, and you'll start growing into the next purpose. Last thing I'll say is don't chase recognition. If you've done things right, recognition will follow you. Today we are living in a world where we all of us are looking for recognition, instant gratification, so on and so forth. Do your work, let recognition come to you. With that, I'm going to stop this. Thank you very much. I'm happy to take any questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, team, if there are any questions, maybe you can type in the chat or raise hand. I can unmute you.
Okay, I'm just reading. I'm sorry if someone has taken this logging out as was not able to connect with the topic content as looks more religious. No, this is not religious. I think the person has just jumped into it. This is in fact about understanding who we are, and if you really understand the whole pursuit is beyond the boundaries of religion. Religion is what we box up, and sometimes our conditioned mind doesn't allow us. There's nothing about religion. In fact, I'm breaking of the shackles. So yeah, I mean, if you're coming and hearing me, I'm coming from a certain point. So I'll reiterate that the person has walked away. That's fine, the person's choice, but walked away too fast. Uh, yeah, so Robin Kaushik, if possible, please share that YouTube or any public link. I mean, Varun, you can actually give them the website links
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. I've shared it. I'll share the remaining ones also.
okay. Yeah, that's it. I think, yeah, I'm happy to take any questions if anyone's at sea, anyone's got
Yeah, Harvinder will share the recording. You
any
can
questions.
find, you can find the docu series on this link. Other, I think, I think there are no questions. It is a kindly slightly deeper topic where people need to absorb, and I think they have resonated and will take some time to absorb it. And if they have any queries, I think they have your LinkedIn address to reach out to you. I think they want to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
if there's anyone, I'm happy to
Yeah.
maybe wait for a minute or so. If there's anyone an
Yeah.
afterthought you take, I mean, rather than just logging off.
Yeah. Yeah. So
No pressure, yeah.
yeah, more of appreciation coming up than questions.
Oh, I mean, yeah, my WhatsApp number is I can put down out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's here. Okay, I think, yeah, Harbinder, my WhatsApp number is there for you. All right, I think that's
Okay. Yeah. So I think Gurdeep ji has raised his hand. 1 second, I'll just unmute him. 1 second, please. This one. Yeah, Gurdeep ji, now you can speak.
So, thank you very much, sir. It's a very deep session, right? So, you rightly said, legacy is not a religion, right? It's much more than that, right? So, same like my question to you is right now, earlier you were in a Pakistan occupied Kashmir, right? So, forcefully, things are there are certain things which are beyond our control. But right now, you are not in India, you are in Singapore. Any particular reason?
any particular reason? I mean,
You can come back to Punjab. So it's a beautiful place. So we are enjoying.
no, I said nothing about Punjab, that I could be anywhere. So there's
Then
nothing wrong in
because
Singapore.
because there are certain things because in Gurbani. So if you if I read a one quote for you, आपे कर वेखे, it means के परमात्मा अपने आप ही देख रहा, आपे कर वेखे मार्ग लाए. He is putting us on a path. पाई
Yes,
किसी ने अवर ना
I didn't
जाने
get,
जो तुर लिखया सो होवे.
yeah,
पाई
Gurdeep, I didn't
करता
get your
करे सो
question.
होई.
No, Gurdeep, I didn't get your question. So, I mean, let's just keep it away from the religion aspect, you know. But
Right.
the fact
नहीं
is,
नहीं नहीं, my question
question,
is.
your question was, why am I not in Punjab? Look, for me, the world is a stage. I mean, I said, I was born in, I was neither born in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. My father was from there. Partition took him elsewhere. I was born in Gorakhpur. My life has taken me across multiple. I moved many countries, many cities, right? I have settled down for the last many.
My question is there any urge or you would like to come here?
Wherever my life will take me, I'll go. What's there? I mean, the work is more important than where I stay, right? In today's connected world, I think
Mhm.
what matters is what we're producing, and whether it allows people to connect. That's more important. Whether I'm in Timbuktu or whether I'm in Himachal or whether I'm in Punjab or whether I'm in Singapore, how does it matter?
Right.
Yeah. I'm in fact more connected to our Indic cultures broadly beyond Punjab, much more
Mhm.
deeply connected. Uh,
Mhm.
by being in Singapore. When I go to India, I find people are very hard to get them to understand that the world is a bigger lens than what you think. So I mean, I find it like some of the people have commented out here without really understanding what the essence is. And you think this is religion. No, it's got nothing religion, because that's where the probably society is getting boxed out there. And I find it a very painful experience that people in India are not able to understand. Indic culture is much beyond. It's not one religion. You have to understand multiple aspects which are twining inside. Anyhow, any other question I'm happy to take.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Gurdeep ji. I think Poonam has put in across a question to you, which Indic gurus are working on are you working on for your next project? Like, what
So
is your next project? Yeah.
so you just go to this website called onenessindiversity.com, and you've got this entire landscape of various Indic saints, in which it is Farid, Baba Farid, Kabir Sahib, Namdev, Ravidas, Bhakti period, Namdev, Nanak, and Joydev. So there are 16 saints in it, right? But the question really is, I don't see it as religion because they are social reformers. They're social reformers who are shackling the barriers that religion and the society creates, right? So they have, in the times of Bhakti period, tried to do something which is absolutely relevant in current times. And that's what needs to be revived for a better understanding across societies and communities, right? So that's what we are working on.
Yeah,
I can
thank
tell you,
you.
as you read these Indic saints, in some time we'll come up with some courses. There's absolute relevance to the corporate world. Sometimes the corporate guys don't understand it, right? I mean, you've got a 25-year corporate veteran at a senior level who's gone to this path. And I'm telling you, I'm taking a circle back. When I read Kabir Sahib and I read Baba Farid, I find so many insights that are relevant to today's corporate world. And that's the Indic traditions that's beyond the Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, or the boundaries or Christian boundaries that needs to be brought up. That these Indic saints are talking about. You look at Dhanna, Bhagat Dhanna in Rajasthan. He's talking about Maslow's curve, right? Maslow's hierarchy, which today's Philip Kotler would teach in the MBAs, right? And you look at, our Indic saints are talking about 500 years back, right? So, you look at Nanak when he meets Siddhas, what a humble submission he makes. He's talking about how dialogues need to happen, right? Nanak, though, is boxed into a faith, but the fact is, he's saying, the elevated spiritualists, the Siddhas, and we have met thanks to the divine energies that has brought us together. We bow in front of that divine energy, then we bow in front of each other, and now starts a very comprehensive dialogue, right, about philosophy and spirituality. And that dialogue pulls both the sides apart in the Siddh Ghost. But look at how they started. That's like a boardroom meeting. You start by humbleness, you start by respecting each other. These Indic saints teach you a lot. Sorry, someone said you have a turban, but your philosophy is above religion. How? Well, what does turban have to do with it? I'm very proud of my forefathers who rose their hands at a time when the subcontinent was going through some major challenges. To me, whether it's not, it doesn't make who I am inside me. It is something that I inherit, as you would inherit a particular thing fondly from your grandfather. I inherited it, right? I'm proud of it, but it has a certain history, it has certain culture behind it, and that's why I see saying that people are today boxed into religions. This is, to me, is a very, very proud inheritance, but it is not what my mind is. My mind is beyond this. Philosophy is beyond this. So I think that's where we are looking at it from a very myopic lens, because, as I said again and again, today we are boxed into faiths. Does that answer your question, Gaurav? Yeah, okay, I think, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I think, uh, yeah, okay. So are there any other questions? Or maybe Amardeep ji has shared his number. You can reach out to him on his WhatsApp or maybe on LinkedIn uh, if you have any further questions. Yeah. So thank you, Amardeep ji, for an insightful session. Obviously, this session will take some more time to get absorbed in order to understand it beyond religion. But I think it has given a lot of perspective in terms of explorer's mindset, and like you have summarized it from both perspective, having seen both of the words, both corporate and a person who has left himself, or I will say freed himself from all the boundaries of the corporate world to explore and find out the real meaning, real purpose, who we are. So thank
So
you very much. Yeah,
I just ended by saying, as I said
yeah,
it earlier,
yeah.
sometimes I feel my community is not understood me, right?
Yes.
It's fine if the others don't understand also. It's fine.
Right.
But the message who wants to understand will understand beyond that. If my
Right.
own people can't understand me, it's
Yeah.
fine if the others don't understand, right?
Yeah, right. But
But it is
really, really insightful session. I think many have mentioned it in their thoughts that they have found and they could relate to it. Right.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much for joining us so
Good night.
late. I think it is almost midnight at your end, and I could see. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you,
will
Bhavya.
share the links with the audience uh, for all the sites which they can refer.
Thank you so much.
Right, right. Thank you. Okay. What will you have on the new website, Learn with Nanak? Okay, there is one question. Learn with Nanak. There is a question. What will you have
Oh,
on the
yeah.
new website? Yeah.
So, casing, right? I would just
Yeah.
say, just wait for 10 days and it'll be up. You start seeing it, right? It
Yeah.
is, the name is that, but it's about the
Right.
bhakti period, it's all the message of oneness and some courses will be on it.
Mhm.
Uh, but again, it's beyond the shackles of religion, right? So,
Right, right, right. So we look forward to it and all the very best. I'm sure, like the docu series, it